Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Horse Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
There's actually an abundance of news to talk about.
There are a lot of things to
But
talk about.
the top priority on my list today is going to be the Acolyte trailer that dropped yesterday.
Some of the Leslye Headland comments, I think
Absolutely.
I've seen you collecting them across multiple
That's
articles.
what I do.
Yeah, it is what you do.
I mean, I also, of course, eventually want to talk about the George Lucas thing. I actually want to talk about the Rebel Moon trailer that dropped.
Yep.
But today we're going to talk about the
X-Men
Acolyte.
97 drops tomorrow, another bad
I
batch.
know,
There's so much to talk.
There's way too much to talk about.
It's funny how you can go weeks where we're like, what can we even talk about? And then it's like days like
Everything
this.
at once.
Where we could make like a 2-hour video. And especially with me rambling. It's going to be a lot of rambling in this video. I can feel it.
Let's get to some basic information about what we know about the Acolyte first.
Okay.
It's going to drop on June 4th. It's going to be a 2-episode premiere. There are 8 episodes. And we have an average run length of 30 to 35 minutes.
Oh,
I know.
why?
I don't know.
I mean, maybe that'll be a blessing in disguise. Who knows?
We won't know till we start watching it,
Exactly.
honestly.
But that just feels short. It always feels
does.
short. I mean, it feels like...
I thought Andor had mastered the perfect length for an episode.
It did feel like it, didn't it? It was nice to have longer
Give
episodes.
me 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my happy place for these types
all
of shows.
Yeah, I feel like that 45... Because you can sit down, you watch it in like 45 minutes, you feel
I
good.
don't feel rushed.
Yeah.
All right, but let's move on to some things that Leslye Headland had to say because, of course, an interview dropped immediately with the trailer because we have to know all the interesting things she has to say.
What did you think of the trailer? We didn't get your review of it. Your ever so brief review, as we sometimes do.
First off, I was kind of disappointed that this was almost identical to the Celebration trailer that I had to find on the internet.
Similar.
Yeah. A lot of the same stuff. The beginning of it was like beat for beat
exactly
until
the same,
later.
but yeah.
It left me with more questions than answers, which might be a good thing. I mean, it
That's
left me
probably what they're trying to do.
intrigued,
Yeah.
made me interested. I will give it a fair shot
As will I.
because that's what I do. I give it a fair shake, and if it's not good, it's not good. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean,
That's what I will do. If it's good, I'm going to tell you. If it's
not everything
I'm
is for everyone, and I'm sure somebody out there would enjoy things that I absolutely detest, and vice versa.
Which is fine, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, well, that was a good review.
I did aesthetically. I thought it was really
Aesthetically, not bad.
Great.
I've seen a lot of people saying it doesn't look very good, and I disagree with that.
I think it looks very good.
Yeah,
they
volume was
Yeah, they
used,
didn't use the volume.
I've seen a lot of people
practical
say
build.
Yeah, I've seen people saying, "Oh, it looks like they're just using the volume again." Well,
Well,
I mean,
they're not.
maybe you feel like it's not that good, but I thought it was. I thought it was all right. No volume detected.
No volume
And
detected.
no volume. They confirmed no volume used.
They did confirm that. So first off, they asked Headland that teaser trailer footage, was it like from the entire series? Is it just from like the first few episodes? She says it's from a lot of episodes, not the whole series, but about 4 to 5 episodes.
Yeah, don't use the stuff from the back half.
You
That's
should
always
never
smart.
use the stuff from the back half. Unless it's really cryptic and, I don't know.
Even then,
Stay away
stop.
from that.
Yeah, if you don't got enough in the first 4 episodes to make a trailer, maybe you don't have a show.
Ooh, yeah. Then they asked, is the series more like an Andor or more like a Mandalorian? She says that she thinks it's in between. Very much in between, meaning that it is a serialized storyline. It is not episodic. There's an overarching story that's told over the course of 8 episodes. It's a mystery thriller, meaning each episode you have to watch in order to get more information and start to get invested. I found with Andor, it really built into something that was exciting and had this incredible payoff at the end. We were definitely trying to do something similar narratively.
Good luck with that.
I think that's promising, though, that she liked Andor.
Trying to do Andor. Well, yeah, that's a good thing. Like, at least she's not like, oh, well, Andor was terrible.
Andor was horrible,
That
so I
Ahsoka
didn't...
series and Kenobi series were fire.
But she would say that in terms of the more Mandalorian-type aspects, there's a lot of alien references, a lot of Clone War references, a lot of original trilogy references, basically all the stuff that she loves about Star Wars.
How do you reference something that hasn't happened yet for 100 years? Clone Wars and then the original trilogy, 120 years.
She might just mean references in terms of, like, with the Mandalorian, she said aliens.
I know. I know what she probably means, but it's funny to say references from them when they are way ahead on the timeline.
Well, maybe some ideas that we see in the Clone Wars with how the Jedi operate, we're just going to be seeing again in a time period that came much before,
no.
I guess.
All right.
Of course, she says no post-Empire, no current Empire iconography, no stormtroopers, because they wouldn't exist. And she recognizes that.
Well, at least we got that going for us. At least she knows that much.
Yes. Then they asked her about that line, someone is killing the Jedi. It doesn't make sense. Her response to that is, well, it's difficult to defeat a Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I said in my review.
And it doesn't make any sense. Because who can do that? Who's power enough to kill a Jedi at, like, the height of their power? And she considers this to be the height of their power because in The Phantom Menace, they're not sensing the Sith presence to the point where they don't know what Palpatine's presence is doing or what his intentions are. So she says the further back you move in Star Wars, the Jedi are more towards the height of their power. So it doesn't make sense that someone's killing them, because who could be able to do that?
Must be the levelers.
Oh.
Scary dog
You
things.
know how much I would love to see those show up in live action?
Maybe they will.
They're terrifying.
She kind of said, though, I saw one quote of hers where she's like, oh, we kind of used some stuff from the High Republic, which I think for the dozens of High Republic fans out there, I'm sorry, I know there are some of you, but I don't think it's very popular. But for you, I don't think that's a very comforting quote, because I don't think it's going to be as involved with everything you've been reading for the last few years. I mean, right. I've read it too.
I mean, you even made the comment that the character Jodie Turner-Smith is playing looks possibly like she could be related to the open hand.
The path of the open hand and the mother and all that. I don't know. That was just kind of my first impression. I don't think it is, because that's like 200 years before this show should be or something like that.
Well, if they still exist.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was that big battle at the end of Phase 2.
So this could be just maybe a new iteration of them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with all that, and not to get into the High Republic, like I said, I know a lot of people don't even care about it or haven't read it. But I felt like that whole Phase 2 hasn't amounted to anything. Like, I'm still like, why did we go back there? So, who knows? Maybe it was because of this show.
Maybe.
Doubt it.
Well, moving on to what Jodie Turner-Smith's character actually said. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
Oh, there it is.
This is what Headland has to say. I've always seen Star Wars as, well, I wouldn't say all of Star Wars. I think Star Wars is really complicated, but I think one of the themes of Star Wars is usually underdog versus institution, right? That's one aspect of it, and to me, in that particular era, the Jedi are not a threat at all. They're a benevolent, balanced, and I think well-intentioned, beautiful institution that has amassed an enormous amount of power. So the question becomes, is it right for an institution to have that much power? I think that sometimes people get a little caught up in the morality of, oh, the good people can use power and the bad people can't, and it's more about who is allowed to amass power and who is allowed to use it for their own means.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean...
my first question would be like, okay, what do you mean by the Jedi have amassed power?
Well, she talks about stuff like, what if you're Force sensitive and you don't want to become a Jedi? What happens? Are you not allowed to use your powers anymore?
Who's stopping you? What do you mean allowed? Like, you don't have a Jedi babysitter who watches you 24/7. This isn't Big Brother in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, well, she says George says that without training, your power would fade. But is it that there are no training going on at all in the whole galaxy? No one's figured out a way beyond the Jedi to train in the Force? Obviously, we know the Sith are doing the rule of 2 at this point. There's training going on in that sense. There's Force witches, similar to the Night Sisters, who are training each other. We know that. There are no Night Sisters in the show, but we just know there are different factions, and even in the EU and in the High Republic, there's talk of Force cults that have decided to retreat from society. And now I'm getting too nerdy. But anyways, point being, is an institution allowed to amass that amount of power, even if their intentions are good?
What about Superman?
Oh.
Is Superman bad because he's the ultimate
Because he has power?
But he exercises it for good, right?
That's what the Jedi are doing. And she even admitted that they're benevolent.
Yeah, it's very confusing because I'm like, well, what? You have to tell us what the Jedi are doing that would be seen as wrong.
Is she trying to imply that because they have power, they're ultimately going to be corrupt?
Well, I mean, you do have the saying, of course. You know,
The ultimate
absolute
power.
Yeah, absolute, ultimate, whatever you want to call it. Power corrupts absolutely.
Yes.
But if you are truly benevolent...
Which the Jedi, their whole shtick is to be selfless.
Yes. So if they had all the power in the galaxy and never exercised it, is that bad? I mean, it's an interesting question. It's the Superman question, right? I mean,
it really is, yeah.
Superman can kill everybody on Earth. We know alternate realities where he does that or kind of goes crazy. But if he's using his power only for good, do we have to question him having that much power? Is that a bad thing?
It's tough because how would you ever keep him in check?
Well, that's an interesting question, too. But, I mean, the premise here makes it sound like the Jedi are doing something nefarious, that there's something wrong with the way they are using the power.
Right, and it's all Jodie, which is sad because we don't have context for this line.
Exactly.
Who is Jodie Turner-Smith that she's going to question how power is getting used?
Yeah, in story, she can certainly question it. I have zero issue with that. I mean, we have Palpatine saying, good is the point of view, Anakin. I mean, clearly he's a Sith. He's a bad guy trying to turn Anakin to the dark side and trying to confuse him. Right. So if this is a character trying to confuse somebody else or trying to make her case against the Jedi, that's fine. Right,
if she's trying to question, is it fair that they have this power? Is it when I don't, and we have power too, but I...
Yeah, but who is stopping her? Like, the Jedi are not policing the galaxy. There are 10,000 of them. I mean...
That's not many.
That is not many. I mean, for comparison, there's like 35,000 cops in New York City. And I mean...
That's one city.
That's one city here on one planet.
I mean, 10,000 Jedi wouldn't even be enough for one planet.
No, it wouldn't be.
Coruscant would be like a drop in the bucket.
Exactly. My point is like, okay, even if the Jedi do have this incredible power, how are they using it? Are they influencing the Senate? Are they... Because we see it the other way in the prequels, don't we? We see the Senate basically using the Jedi.
Because Palpatine kind of started moving things that direction behind the scenes a little bit.
Well, yeah, certainly behind the scenes, but I mean, even up front, it seems like the Jedi are pawns to the Republic at this point. So
they're more of servants of the Republic than they are policing the universe, the galaxy.
Yeah, either policing it or exerting their influence over it. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't see that at all. We don't see that the Jedi are like, oh, they're influencing the Republic. No, it seems to be the other way. So this seems to be... I don't know, a misconception on her part. I could be wrong. I haven't seen it. But...
No, we'll have to see how this character played by Jodie Turner-Smith actually exists within story.
Exactly. But I mean, it's all about if that's what she's going... I mean, she's even talking about that's what the show is going to explore, it seems like. So it's not just like this one character. She's saying that's what the show is about. The Jedi having all this power. Well, 10,000 Jedi are not exactly out there trying to rule the galaxy, are they?
To my knowledge, no. Where's the King Jedi?
King Yoda. All hail King Yoda.
Wouldn't it be great if Yoda's in this?
He will be.
He should be.
If he's not, he'll probably be shuffling around in the background at some point. I don't know.
We'll see him walking past. Hey, look, it's young Yoda.
And he wouldn't be young, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Younger Yoda. 100 years younger than we saw him before.
Yeah.
But you can even see Yaddle?
I think we'll see Yaddle. I think we're going to see, like Jarl Poof and some of these others will be there. And...
It'd be cool, because they would be alive.
Yeah.
Right, so then they kind of talk about how's that great shot in the trailer that we see with all the Jedi lighting up their lightsabers, getting ready to fight. And they kind of ask her a bit about that scene. She says, I think what I could say about that, without spoiling anything, is that when I was thinking about the Jedi in this particular era, I thought that they wouldn't pull out their lightsabers very often in this era.
They wouldn't ever. What do you mean this era?
What
era are they whipping out
this
their
era,
lightsabers?
the High Republic.
But even still,
they were during the Clone Wars, and I think that's her comparison she's making.
Yes, but that's not an era per se.
I think that's what she's.
I know, but that's not like they were like.
Because when we saw them in the prequels, it was battle droid, zoom, zoom.
All right.
And she even goes on to say there aren't battle droids to fight. There isn't a darksaber. It exists, but it's not around. Why would they pull their sabers? They would only pull their sabers if they felt like they were really being threatened. And so what I can say is that they are very threatened at that moment when they pull them out.
Because they sense the Sith, who have been extinct for a millennium.
I don't know. Maybe it's not the Sith. Maybe it's just some random dark side cult who's killing Jedi.
Well, if you can kill a Jedi, you've got some power. You're not just a rando darksider at that point.
Well, look at the Inquisitors. Could be a cult. I mean, she did reference the EU, how they used to have, dark side cults.
Sure, but only the Sith should be a genuine threat to the Jedi. Again, look at the Inquisitors. Look what happens when Ahsoka runs into two Inquisitors during Rebels. She makes them look silly because they are not on par. A random Darksider should not be on par with a fully trained Jedi Knight.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
And if they are, then they are not a Darksider. They are basically the epitome of the dark side. They are a Sith at that point to rival them.
We have so many questions about what is going to be in this series.
Oh, I've got
I know, you've got a list. It's just getting longer.
It does get long. Every quote adds 2 more questions. It's like a Hydra here. Every question we tackle, 2 more take its place.
I mean, it's cool that for High Republic fans that they're seeing Vern.
Yeah, sure.
She's coming back. I mean, she was kind of a prodigy back in the High Republic books. She made her lightsaber into a whip at one point. She was very, experimental and interesting.
Well said.
She says that she also hopes that High Republic fans are excited by, like, the white robes, because they were really intent on using them. That was a big aesthetic
for
their
their ceremonial walk around the temple robes. Yeah.
These are our temple robes, and then when we go out, we wear the brown clothes with the gold robes.
Yeah. Very low-key.
Yeah, she wanted to do a nod to the book, and they're not getting in a bunch of skirmishes, so wearing all white and walking around in gold, it's not a big deal to them.
I walk around my house all white all the time. In my robes. I'm kidding.
She also says that we're going to see some fun stuff from the EU. We're going to see aliens from Clone Wars, references to the special editions. That there's a lot of fun stuff out there, not necessarily connected to the Mandalorian or the Skywalker saga.
The EU one has me curious. I don't know if interested is the word I choose.
She said there's also some EU lore that I decided to put in because I thought it was so cool and no one told me I couldn't. There are a couple of really big EU ideas that are utilized both early on in the series and later in the series.
What EU ideas is she referring to?
Revan.
Well,
threat achieved. Revan showed up.
Revan is back.
He's in the wrong time period, but he's here.
He's time travel. He whirled between worlds into the future.
Brought Malik.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. No one said she couldn't. So.
No one said she couldn't. So she's just like, you know what? Can I just
bring it back? Yeah, can I bring back Revan?
I mean, if I get to have Trinity, why not have Neo as well?
Yeah, he is the one. The
Keanu
one who
Reeves
used the
steps
light
out.
in the dark. No, he doesn't do it at the same time, people.
I'll tell you who's allowed to use power. Me. Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of crazy ideas she's got stewing around, and I'm just wondering how this translates to the series, because sometimes directors, actors, people working on projects kind of tunnel vision to see something a specific way.
Oh, we covered that.
But then when we watch something, it comes off differently.
Yeah, sometimes you hear actors say something like, it represents this, and you watch it
and
go,
like,
well, I mean, you could see it that way.
I guess, but...
Maybe you see it that way, but I don't know.
But I'm going to watch it in the vein of Star Wars and go, oh, this is what this means.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of questions.
I'm very
curious about the power that the Jedi have amassed and how they use it.
And I think the next look at anything Acolyte that'll happen is supposedly when you go to see Episode 1 in the theaters for May the 4th, there's supposed to be some sort of Acolyte exclusive something.
Yeah.
But don't hold me to that 100%, but that's what I heard.
10 years ago together when the Phantom... Or
in 3D?
12 or something like that now, yeah. 3D Phantom Menace. We did.
You were excited when you watched Jar Jar's tongue come right at you out of the screen.
I thought you were going to say you were excited to see it again. I was excited to see it again in theater. I don't know about seeing Jar Jar's tongue, but I'm excited to see it again in theater.
I know you are.
And again. Mm-hmm. This will be number 11 for me in the theater. Seeing
Good for you.
I know. You're like, wrap it up. I've got a lot to edit.
I do.
So that is going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Let us know what you think of the Acolyte trailer, or let us know what you think of Leslye Headland's comments here, and let's talk some Star Wars. And so, until next time, thanks for watching.